A heavy rainstorm pounds against the trees. A sudden flash of lightning illuminates the decaying silhouette of an isolated Gothic mansion, only for it to vanish back into the darkness a second later. Mira wants to leave immediately. The rumors are enough to convince her the place is dangerous. But Erov refuses to move. For him, the only thing that matters is uncovering a logical explanation for what's happening. This flowchart maps Erov's internal logic against his environment. Growing skepticism filters out the survival instincts screaming at Mira to run. As the mansion doors inexplicably open, the chart reacts. Erov investigates, but ignoring the anomaly means the environment dictates his choices. As they step through the entryway, a sharp blast of cold air hits them. The script uses this sudden drop in temperature to establish a physical boundary, separating the natural world they just left from the space they've just entered. While Erov believes he is a hunter seeking answers, the story structure has already placed him in a role he doesn't recognize yet: the prey. The interior of the house immediately begins testing their perception. As they walk past a row of antique portraits, the eyes in the paintings appear to shift, tracking their movements down the hall. Mira is the first to notice, but Erov dismisses it instantly. He attributes the movement to an optical illusion, convinced the house is simply playing tricks on their tired eyes. This illustrates the power of confirmation bias in a horror narrative. By forcing the character to rationalize supernatural evidence into a safe, logical worldview, the writer creates a deep sense of frustration for the audience, who can see the danger clearly. When the visual warnings fail to stop them, the script shifts to sound. Slow, rhythmic footsteps start thudding from the ceiling directly above their heads. They aim their flashlights toward the upper floor, searching for a source. The beams of light cut through the dark, but find nothing. By amplifying the sound while revealing nothing to the eye, the narrative isolates the characters. They are left reacting to a threat they can hear but cannot identify. This process systematically strips away their psychological defenses. Long before the physical threat appears, they have already been taught to doubt their own senses. The footsteps lead them to the end of a long, dark corridor. There sits a heavy iron door, coated in thick rust. Painted on the metal is a single detail: the number 13. It is a universal warning sign, a piece of cultural shorthand that the characters choose to ignore in their search for the truth. The moment Erov's hand touches the handle, a child's laugh echoes from the empty hallway behind them. As they spin around to face the empty hall, a voice whispers directly from the walls: "Too late." This graph maps the sensory inputs hitting the characters at this exact moment: the tactile sensation of the handle, the auditory shock of the laugh, and the whisper from the wall all land within seconds of each other, designed to overwhelm the brain's ability to process what's happening. This cluster of data points marks the moment the characters lose their ability to retreat. The overlapping stimuli create a cognitive overload that forces them to move forward into the room. The script uses this concentrated barrage to push the audience out of a state of slow, creeping dread and into a state of inescapable panic. Inside the room, they find a single object, a large antique mirror hidden under a thick white sheet. When Erov pulls the sheet away, the mirror doesn't show a reflection. Instead, they see two people who look exactly like them, smiling back with eyes that are nothing but hollow black voids. This imagery relies on the psychological tension of the uncanny valley, the specific discomfort we feel when something looks human but is clearly missing a fundamental internal element, like a soul. The figures begin to step forward, physically emerging from the mirror's frame and into the room. Just as they reach for the real Erov and Mira, the screen cuts to black. A disembodied voice then speaks from the void. "Now, it's your turn." The entity is no longer addressing the characters, it's addressing the viewer. By leaving the fate of the protagonists unresolved, the story creates an emotional vacuum. The viewer is left with a sense of lingering anxiety that can only be relieved by engaging with the creator to see what happens next. The mastery of Door 13 lies in translating psychological dread into a digital feedback loop. It weaponizes the viewer's need for closure, turning a frightening story into a demand for active participation.